Alright, here we are. Twitch loading very slowly as per usual, but I think everything is fine. Let's jump into it. Interesting that the sound effect keeps repeating. I've had it in my ears for like over a minute or so. So, yeah. Hey Vea. Hey. People often get the wrong idea about me for some reason, but I actually don't mind boring work. In fact, I'm naturally quite good at just steadily toiling away at trivial tasks and take a certain pride in it. Hey Matjan! Finishing up a task and seeing the fruits of my labor brings with it a pleasant sense of satisfaction and fulfillment. My mic is a little bit too far ahead. There we go. Yeah, that should be good. Okay, so.
ごめんなさいね。急に頼んでしまって。いいえ、面倒だなんて思ってませんよ。秋代の制服は白いから汚れが目立つし、頼むにしても急じゃなければ用意できたのに。
Yeah, that's a really bad idea.
替えの服がないわけじゃなし、大丈夫ですよ。さっさと終わらせてしまいましょう。
Kinda like, it's okay if we destroy these fancy clothes, because I have a spare. Oh, it would just feel so bad. They're so pretty. To someone like me, who revels in mundane labor, helping with the harvest is no hassle at all. I actually feel bad that she's apologizing so much. In fact... Except now I am thinking about the conversation from the previous night and... With my mind elsewhere, I accidentally snapped the carrot I'm pulling up. I scowl down at it.
食べ物に対する礼儀がなっていない。食い道楽の八重垣くんが見たら怒らせてしまいそうだ。どうしたの、八代さん。
I confess that I've snapped the carrot because I wasn't paying attention.
これは収穫時期が少し遅れてしまったみたいね。時期？何です？収穫が遅れると劣根、根の一部が裂けて割れてしまったりするの。まだ大丈夫だと思っていたけど、急いだ方がいいわね。
Yeah, no pressure there with your white uniform and everything to harvest everything.
なるほど、奥が深い。
All students at the academy take it in turns to cultivate the allotments, and we all take part in the harvest too. So I've done this before, but I still have a lot to learn.
これはこれで趣味にしたら面白そうだ。
I think to myself as I fiddle with the broken carrot.
形が悪いだけで食べられないわけではないんですよね。大丈夫よ。なら後でスムージーにでもしてみよう。でかいストローでも使って健康化を気取ってみます。八代さんは音調のことをよく理解しているのね。神のお恵み。
That's a concept I probably never would have come across if I hadn't come to this school. The grace of God is a way of talking about the favors God has bestowed upon us, but...
どうにも僕らしくない。
Last night's words are still niggling at me, filling my mind with pessimistic thoughts. Sister Basket asks me what's wrong, and I force a cynical smile to my face in an attempt to restore my usual mood.
秋野菜が収穫できる頃合いになったということは、そろそろお楽しみのあれを掘ってもいいということですよね。掘る？ああ、はいはい、さつまいものことね。天ぷらにすると美味しいわよね。個人的にはもっとシンプルに焼き芋の方が好みですけどね。収穫祭でのメニューに入っていれば最高なんですがね。
I haven't really had luck enjoying sweet potatoes as anything other than baked. I don't know, maybe I didn't cook them properly, but and by baked I mean just baked as a whole, right? You just put the potato in and take it out after like, I don't know, 40-50 minutes. Sweet potatoes are softer, so they don't need as much time as regular potatoes. But other than that, I don't know. I never really enjoyed them. It didn't really work with me. But tempura, sweet potatoes. That sounds interesting. Food again. Yes, sorry, Bear.
時期が違うのが残念よね。
She smiles affably, and I feel a sudden urge to confess. I wonder how such a benevolent soul might respond if I were to confess to her the thing I've been trying so hard not to think about.
先生は
Have you ever been in love? How do you feel about love between two girls? I think the second one maybe is a bit too straightforward. Yeah, have you ever been in love as this is a bit... it's attacking it too head on.
今まで好きになった人はいますか？
Although I don't know if that's a good question for a nun, right? She's not supposed to be in love. But anyway, I ask her the question straight up with no preamble, and her eyes widen. Then her expression changes to one of ever so perplexed happiness.
やちろさんが恋の相談とは珍しいですね。らしくないですか？
She shakes her head and looks down at her toes, like she's unsure what to say. Hey, Yuzuri, how's it going?
シスターのバスキア教諭に何を聞いているんだ？
It doesn't take a genius to realize that it's not the sort of question you ask a pious, devout Christian nun. It was a thoughtless, insensitive thing to ask.
昨日の自分じゃないんだぞ。好きな人はいたわ。
But it's okay, we're here, we're back, let's go. So, Sister Dahlia was in love once, right?
え？私がまだ覚悟を決めていない時にね。バスキア教諭、すみません。ぶしつけな質問をしてしまって。いいのよ。ねえ、八代さん。私はこう思うの。生きることには目標が必要だって。たとえそれが愛でも憎しみでもつまらない賭けでもいい。
These words are so unlike her that I don't know how to respond, so I just stare at her as she smiles sadly. Perhaps Twitch's rules don't allow streaming corn? I thought we were talking about carrots though.
空っぽにはならないで、八代さん。
New Dahlia lore, it's a good day. Alright. Also, hi, welcome. Don't allow yourself to become hollow.
私のようにならないで。
I feel that those words hung in the air, unsaid. Interesting. It's been a while since I've talked with Sister Basket, and I do feel like a slight weight has been lifted from my shoulders.
国会じゃないが。
She'd taken on the role of confessor all the same. I smile wryly to myself.
どうしました？いや、今更ながら思ったんですよ。自分が悩みなんておかしいってね。そんなことはないわ。ねえ、八代さん。悩みが大きすぎることはいけないけれど、少しくらいはあった方がいいのよ。
I blink at her. I wouldn't expect to hear that from someone like her. Someone who's always listening to other people's problems and trying her damnness to solve them. No, thank you. We're chillin'. Thank you. Then again, she's probably going to come out with some teaching about how we should draw on our troubles as a source of spiritual sustenance.
確かに、そうですね。え？悩みがない人生なんてつまらない。何でも叶うとおかしくなる。過去のロックスターを調べればわかることだ。
Rockstar?
そういうことではないんですよ。
It's interesting to see the contrast of what Sister Basket is trying to say and where Yuzuriha's mind is going. Sister Basket has taken my joking seriously. The way her brows furrow in perplexion is pretty cute.
話し込んでしまいましたね。そろそろ収穫に戻りましょう。
I take aim at the nearest carrot, my body feeling somewhat lighter after our talk. A cat! My ears prick at the word. What?
あの毛並みはヨゴロウザですね。
Yogorosa. What name is that? They're on two different wavelengths, yeah, for sure.
名前つけてるの？
I find my cooking club comrades making a noise in front of the rabbit hutch.
君たちも餌やりに来たのかい？ゆずりは先輩、遊びに来たんですか？何？人参の収穫をしたからね。少しお裾分けってやつさ。
I show them the vegetable treats I've brought with me. A few carrots I'd managed to snap while pulling up, and plenty of their leafy heads.
それよりも聞き逃せない名前が出たな。この辺りには猫が出るのかい？ヨゴロウザです。
What name is that? What kind of name is that?
そうか。固めの猫の仲間がいると見た。
Ringo-kun grins. She must have recognized the famous Japanese children's book I'm referencing.
何のこと？
Why does Yuzuriha remind me of Feishao? Oh, I see. I kind of can see it, yeah. Wow, stream elements. Yeah, you catch on really... Yeah, we're live, thank God. Hopefully. Hopefully we'll stay that way.
ヒゲよさらばだよ。それよりこの辺にも野良猫がいるのだね。
Children's book, okay.
森深いですからたくさん野生動物はいますですよ。ああ、前イタチとか見ましたよ。僕もアナグマやハクビシンなら。
To be honest, I thought cats could only survive in towns and cities, so I'm surprised to hear they've been spotted around the isolated academy. However...
もともと野生の生き物だものな。
Yeah, but like I can't imagine a cat surviving in a forest. This preconception of mine comes from only ever encountering them as pets.
あ、でも大丈夫です。ウサギさんを襲ったりはしないですよ。
I must have looked dubious as she offers me an explanation while pushing some of the carrot leaves I've handed her through the wire.
ウサギさんを狙わなくとも餌はたくさんあるからですよ。
She clarifies. I nod. It's a bit gross to think about, but I understand how they can fare perfectly well without needing to chow down on the rabbits. Please don't put images into my head. No, rabbits are cute, cats are cute, we can love them separately, it's all good.
あれ、人参あんまり喜ばないですね。葉の方がお好みのようだ。イラストやなんかで人参が好きだという先入観があるから大好物なんだと思ったんだがね。
The bunnies are innocently nibbling away at the leaves while completely ignoring the carrots themselves. Ichigo-kun watches them for a while.
もう少し来るのが早かったらスーちゃんもいたんですよ。
To be fair to the cats, cows are cute too. Yeah, absolutely, sure, of course. She informs me.
そうか。スオくんが。前は塞ぎ込んでましたけど、元気になってハロウィンパーティーでの話もしてたんです。
I smile at her thoughtfulness toward her friend. She finishes feeding the rabbits and turns to face me properly, telling me they were talking about what they should do for the party.
ハロウィンパーティーでの衣装のことです。あまり裁縫は得意ではないので、早くどんな衣装にしようか決めようと話したのですよ。
Oh, that's
凝
fun.
った仮装をするなら早く取り掛からなきゃですし、ゆずりは先輩はもう決めたんですか？そうだな。僕は
To be honest, I haven't even thought about it yet, but something hassle-free. I'm more interested in your costume. Do we deflect and ask them about the costume? Yes. That's what we do.
僕もまだ決めかねていてね。それよりも
I lean in and take hold of her hand.
いちごくんの衣装の方が気になるな。
Wow, that's okay. I say.
私ですか？
She's melted already. She's like, she's gone from this world. We lost her. Seeing her blush and stutter gives me a warm, fuzzy feeling. Ah, this is the usual me.
まだ決めてないんです。そのリンゴと同じものに しようと思って。そうか、双子なのだものね。同じ衣装で合わせた方がいい。となると悩ましいな。
I rack my brains for spooky stories or legends that feature twins.
その辺で。どうしたんだい？いちご姉が私のように真っ赤になってますですよ。
As a me.
はい。
Seeing that Ichigo has indeed turned as red as an apple, Ringo's namesake, I apologize and let go of her hand.
八代先輩は何を着てもハマりそうで羨ましいです。
Ringo to the rescue, yeah.
似合う仮装が少ないので難しいですよ。そうかい？リンゴくんは怖い話が好きなのだろ？ならすぐに思いつきそうなものじゃないか。お化けや怪物、妖怪などは知ってますけど、双子でなおかつ可愛いのは少ないのです。ああ、それは確かになかなか難儀しそうだね。
If you look into it, I'm sure there are plenty of creepy twin options out there, but finding something that will look cute is another matter. I mean, I think the whole point of like finding something cute from a horror story is a bit of a weird juxtaposition in itself.
背丈や彼女たちのキャラクターで恐ろしいキャラのものはハマらなそうだしな。
Could they do a doppelganger trick? I wonder. Oh gosh. I'm bracing myself. I'm expecting them to do another, like, at least an instance of another switch or something here. I really don't like that, but I guess with twins, you gotta expect it, or at least brace for it. The twins themselves have clearly already come to terms with what I'm just realizing, which is exactly why they're already trying to come up with a twin outfit that works for them.
ヘズリハ先輩は何でも似合うからいいですよね。怖い系の衣装と男装系はね。だが女性らしいのはハマらないだろうな。
I tried picturing myself in a sexy witch outfit, but no way. I can't even imagine it.
男装系が似合うのは美人だからですよ。かっこいいし憧れます。
Ichigo is pretty open in her admiration. I remember a time back when my eyes sparkled just like hers.
憧れを抱かれるなんて僕はそんな大層なものではないよ。今の自分は真似から入ったものだしね。真似？ゆずりは先輩にも誰かその憧れの人とかいたんですか？
My best friend immediately comes to mind.
子供の頃、親友が入院し塞いでいた時にとある映画を見たんだ。映画ですか？ドキュメント映画さ。マドンナのワールドツアーのものだった。映画ではそのツアーがいかに過酷かが描かれていてね。
Interesting.
その息抜きにスタッフみんなでカードゲームをしていた場面があった。罰ゲーム付きのやつさ。もし負けたら告白か実行を選ぶというね。つまり秘密のトロかやりたくない事柄を選ばされる？その通り。たとえマドンナでも例外はない。ドキュメントの中でスタッフが負け、二択から秘密の告白をする場面やきつい実行を選び行われる場面もあった。そしてマドンナも負け、秘密のトロか実行で彼女は告白を選んだ。それは一番愛した人の名前を挙げるといったものだったよ。なんかあまり罰ゲームって感じじゃないかも。彼女はその時離婚したてだったのさ。僕もスタッフのお題にハラハラして見守ったものさ。そうしたら私が一番愛しているのはショーン・ペイよと離婚してすぐの元夫の名前を挙げた。それはなんというかすごいですね。ああ、カメラが回っている中で堂々と言い切ったんだからね。僕は 大勢の前で動じない信念を持つ彼女に感銘を受けたんだ。誰の前でも動じない自分。
I'm lost as to how we got to this conversation from costumes. But okay, alright. I can roll with it. I used to be weak.
親友が退院して戻ってきた時、頼れる自分になっていたかったのさ。
I became the person I am today by imitating others. That's probably why I felt such an affinity with sur Automne, who projects herself into her books and films.
誰かになりたいか。私的にはない発想ですね。わかる。
On hearing Ringo's whisper, I reflect how, although the Sasakis may be twins, there are still big differences in how they think. I think I've said too much.
餌も与えおいたようだし、2階への階に向かうとするよ。年中無休の店長はつらい。
The twins say their farewells, and I direct my feet toward the school building. After my lecture from Sister Basket and my chat with the Sasaki sisters, my despondent mood is almost back to normal. However, as soon as I spot the letter that's been slipped under the door and see who it's from, I realize that my troubles have only just begun. Oh no. Oh no, why? Great, thank you for leaving me like that. The suspense. Not a cloud in the sky. I gaze up at the cloudless expanse of blue. Compared to the summer skies, which seem to stretch up forever, the flat blue expanse of autumn feels somehow gentle and familiar. It's neither too high nor too low, but perfectly suspended in the middle. Autumn is also the perfect temperature. Spring is similar, but the fresh air brings with it a nagging insistence to start something new. That's not my style. I love the ripe air of autumn. I've been staring up at the sky to try to clear my mind, but my incessant internal narrative has led me to thoughts of the letter from last night. Okay. The billet doux. Okay. I've been really into period novels recently, so that old-fashioned term is the first that comes to mind. I've never heard it before. But it's interesting. But really, it was what the kids today call a love letter. I'd received my fair share of them when I first started at the academy, but they'd soon tapered off, perhaps because people misinterpreted my closeness with my best friend. Were they really misinterpreting it if we really sit down to think about it? In fact, I haven't had one in a while. However... But is it addressed to her, though? Of course, the attention is flattering, but I reflexively shrink back from the sudden voice in my ear. Turning around, I find my best friend standing there, blinking at me. Oh my gosh! Is this the first time we see it and see her in the ballet attire? I think it is, right? Many think they're dating. Yeah, I understand, but they're dating because they sense a certain closeness. And are they really misinterpreting it? Not that much, right? Like, they're misinterpreting the fact that it's an actual thing and that it's reciprocated, but they're not necessarily reading the vibe wrong, are they? Yeah, that's all I was saying. Cute! Super cute. Although I think I would have expected her to have her hair tied for this, but it's okay. It's okay. She's gorgeous. She's a fairy. It's all good. She can dance with her hair floating around. It's fine. Yeah, she is. She's gorgeous.
Yeah. つい物思いにふけってしまっていたからね。ああ、そうか。足音がしないわけだ。
And Izui as well. Very nice. Very cute. Nettie hasn't changed out of her ballet clothes yet. She's still wearing her ballet slippers, which are designed for walking on your tiptoes. So it makes sense that I didn't hear her footsteps.
もうそろそろシャワー室も空いたと思うけれど。
She breaks off abruptly and stares intently at my face, as though she suddenly found something of immense importance there.
何かあったの？
She asks me.
特に何も。いい秋空だなと眺めていただけだよ。ああ、そうだ。今はお昼は何を注文しようかな。ゆずりはが嘘をついているのは私わかるのよ。
Called out.
まいった。お見通しか。
We've known each other since we were kids. I can't pull the wool over her eyes when it comes to this stuff.
もしかして1年生の時のプリンシパル事件のようなことになっているわけではないわよね。人をマイリー・サイラスのように言わないでくれ。僕はそこまでお騒がせ女じゃない。どうしたの？ハロウィンパーティーでの出し物の件、それと個人での衣装がなかなかに凝っているやつでね。もう衣装の用意を始めているの？早すぎないかしら。去年のことを忘れたのかい？帽子、眼帯、衣装を凝らしたデザインと船長服を作るのに死ぬ思いだったのを知ってるじゃないか。それはそうだけど。
It's not like Neri to doubt people, but she's still looking at me with suspicion in her eyes.
ゆずりはさん、先生がお話があるそうよ。
Just then someone calls out to me from the door to the classroom.
救いの神だ。
Saved by the nun.
今？バスキア教諭のお呼び出しだ。行ってくるよ。
Silently voicing my gratitude to Sister Basket, I leave the classroom behind. However, Neri's concern should have brought it home to me, but...
ゆずりはさん。ゆずりはさん。ん？ああ、どうしたんだい？
Looking up, I see the teacher eyeing me sharply, a stick of chalk in her hand.
わかっています。ええ、その英語を訳せばいいんですね。ごきげんよう。
Rika! Hi.
ああ、ごきげんよう。食事中に話しかけてくるなんて珍しいね。僕に興味があるのかな？あ、いえ、興味というか。興味がない？それはおかしい。熱でもあるんじゃないかね？
Feeling as though I've just surfaced from a dream, I put on my usual flirty tone, but Hanabishikun's brow furrows as she points down at my hands.
さすがにペッパーソースをかけすぎじゃありません？
I guess my mind really had been elsewhere. My taco rice is now painted a deep red.
辛党なんだよ。
That's the best response I can manage. Oh my god. Yuzuriha. Get a grip. And then for my piece de résistance. What did you do? What did you do? When I managed to slice my finger. No, that's the worst. Oh god. Oh no. When I managed to slice my finger in cooking club, I finally acknowledged that, just as Neri had pointed out, I am not my usual self. People, don't space out when you're handling a knife. You can space out in so many other circumstances, but not then. Jeez. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. I hate knives from that point of view. Yeah. I may not be the best chef, but I've never messed up this badly before, or at least I've never repeated the same mistake twice. I really have been lost in my worries. You think? I wouldn't usually get so worked up over a simple love letter. I've received and dealt with them before. However, my best friend's words only served to compound my anxieties and take my mind places it never usually would have gone. Yeah, she's awesome. She's awesome. I have 5 burn marks on my arms from cooking accidents caused by carelessness. No, Chidorin! No, please take care of yourself. Aww. 5 of them. Oh my gosh. Oh, pet.
付き合ってみたらどうだ?
The desire to avoid facing up to my own reality is what has led my mind down these paths. To the idea of using her as a substitute. It would mean lying to myself and using her. I know that in the end... I'm brought back to my senses by a loud cry. I think a bit more of a sense of urgency would be appropriate here. Hello? What are you, a dog? Oh my god, no. Oh no. My mouth curls off in a smile as Ichiko-kun raises her hand in a pick-me gesture. A metallic taste spreads across my tongue as I suck on my index finger. It's incredibly bitter. Why would you do that? Just use a paper napkin and, like, you know, pressure stuff. What? Poor Ichigo. She's just panicked. They have it right though, it should be seen. Sandwiched between the Sasaki sisters, I find myself being dragged off to the nurse's office against my will. After getting my finger patched up, I'm about to set off back to cooking club when, yeah, maybe that's, you know, it's a good idea to just leave it for today. Like, just step away. Taken aback by Ichiko-kun's loud command, I end up going along with her. I hadn't intended to, after all, this is... Okay, what's happening? We're burning a pile of leaves? Aww, this is so cute! Ah, they're baking the sweet potatoes in there, okay. I do love me some baked sweet potatoes. She indicates a nearby bucket filled with water. Yeah, I noticed that too. Are we cauterizing the cut? I would assume it's already been dealt with. I think this is not needed. Internally noting that that wasn't what I meant, I gaze into the crackling fire. Yeah, they can be really nice. Ichiko-kun seems to think this is a good idea, but then also asks if people actually watch it. Oh, interesting. Rinko-kun nods sagely as she informs us. My dad sometimes watched travel shows, but as a kid I didn't get what was so interesting about them. The reporter would hop on a train, stare at scenery, walk around historic sites, and rave about the hotel food. I wonder why he watched such boring programs when he didn't even plan on visiting those places himself. Yeah, you're right when you put it that way. Her hair is like dubiously long. But it's cool, it's so cool. Now that I'm older, I understand. You imagine yourself jetting off on a vacation precisely because you're too busy to actually do it. Staring into the fire, I can almost see my father's kindly face in the flames.
いや、死んでるわけでもないってのに。ゆずりは先輩？感傷的な気分になって癒された。この上、焼き芋まで食べられるんだ。誘ってくれて嬉しいよ。
She puts a hand to her reddening cheek. As I watch her affectionately, Ringo-kun gets to her feet, saying she has something else for us.
これ以上はもらいすぎだ。遠慮するよ。せっかく入れてきたので飲んでほしいですよ。
Picking up a pot she left on the lawn, she pours me a cup of the steaming liquid. Is it coffee? Even from this distance, I can smell the rich, astringent aroma.
どうぞ。お芋にはお茶かと思いましたが、八代先輩はコーヒー糖ですものね。
I see. Here's the misconception.
ああ、ありがとう。
Although my love for coffee is all an act, I solemnly accept the cup from her and take a drink.
苦いな。苦いのが美味しいのではないのですか？たくさんミル回したんだけどな。
With my eyes still on the flames, I tell her she probably went a bit overboard and ground the beans too fine.
細引きって何ですか？粗挽きというのは聞いたことがあるだろう？あれは字のごとく粗くひいた豆のこと。細引きは細かくなるまでひいた豆のことだよ。
The twins nod their
粗
understanding.
挽きはドリップした時抽出されにくいのですっきりした味で酸味が少ない。細引きは抽出するので濃く酸味が強い。砕きすぎたから濃くなりすぎてしまったのですね。それとおそらく火にかけすぎたんだな。煮詰めてしまっている。そうですか。
Seeing her dejected look, I hurriedly wave my hand to dismiss what I just said.
いや、別段悪いことじゃない。これから甘いものをいただくんだ。多少苦い方がありがたみが湧くってものだろ。そうだよ、リンゴ。はい、できましたよ。暑いですから下やけどしないようにしてくださいね。
She passes me an already peeled sweet potato, and the sweet, mellow scent brings a smile to my face. After blowing on it to cool it, I take a big bite.
こいつはうまい。でしょ？おばあちゃん直伝ですから。
The starchy sweetness fills my mouth as the distinctive, slightly charred scent of baked potato tickles my nostrils. I take another bite and another.
ね、私が言った通りでしょ、リンゴ。脱帽ですよ、イチゴね。何が言った通りだって？焼き芋は幸せの味。食べたらゆずりは先輩が笑ってくれるってイチゴ姉が言ったのですよ。
Oh, that's so cute.
姉は常に正しいのです。
I can't help but smile back as Ichigo-kun puffs her chest out proudly. Still savoring the satisfying sweetness atop my tongue, I take a sip of coffee.
思った通りだ。なかなかに合うよ。それは良かったですよ。こっちも焼けたみたい。私たちも食べよう。
Watching her split the freshly baked potato and pass the bigger half to her sister, it strikes me that she really is the older one. For a while, the three of us eat together in silence, savoring the joy of good food.
ネリーだけじゃない。彼女たちまで心配させていたんだな。
I hadn't realized it, but my classmates had been concerned too.
ゆずりは先輩、バターを塗ると一味違いますよ。
Yes, indeed.
ありがとう。いちごくん、りんごくん、心配をかけたようだね。別に心配とか、もしかして進路のこととかですか？りんご。
Seems like they think that's the area my concerns are centered around. Atop of a high school student's list of worries is usually their studies, although love is probably a close second.
そうだ。担任教諭に進学のことで話をされてね。まだ1年以上あるが、 少しナーバスになってしまったよ。そうなのですか?
My own vanity, my ego prevents me from telling the truth. I want to preserve myself in their eyes. I don't want to destroy the image they have of me. Ringo-kun holds a piece of buttered potato up to my mouth. Despite feeling self-conscious, I open my lips to take it.
Oh, 少し気恥ずかしいな。
She's staring at me with big glittering eyes, so pretty and earnest I could drown in them.
八代先輩、私の好きな本の中で道を悩む和コードにこう説いた言葉があります。そんなに偉くなる必要はない。週に一度好きなものが食べられるくらい稼げればそれでいいんだ。と、私としてもそう思います。
Aw. Yeah. I agree with that sentiment. There's something painful about Yuzu's lies, like she doesn't know how to be herself or who she even is. I don't know if it's necessarily that she doesn't know who she is. I feel like she does know that. But it's like she believes that being who she is would disappoint people, so she has to be different. Which is not really true. But yeah, let's see how she evolves from here. Because I'm assuming and hoping that she will not stay in this slump forever. She says this with the utmost sincerity, and I find myself reassured to the point that I'm able to nod along. I'm genuinely grateful for their attempts to encourage me.
本当に大切なものは目に見えない。あ、知ってる。星の王子様ですよね。見えないものは佐々木くんたちの気持ちだ。だからといって見えているものを適当に扱っていいはずがない。
I lean over and take a bite from the potato Ringo-kun is holding. Watching me suck the soft potato into my mouth, she suddenly flushes hotly.
これは見えている友情の証。二人の気遣いはとても甘くて美味しい。
Cute. Sensing something from my expression, the twins exchange a look amongst themselves. Then they both break out into bright peals of laughter.
ありがとう。僕はいい後輩を持った。
Before I know it, the dregs that had been pooling within me have been washed away. My heart feels like the boundless blue autumn sky, scrubbed clean of any lingering clouds.
前を向き、答えを出そう。
Having come to this decision, I drained the last of the bitter yet mild coffee. The sound of that fire was so calming, though. I liked that. I liked having that in the background, the whole scene. Maybe it's because I've made up my mind. I take a big stretch and look up at the autumn sky.
綺麗だな。
Absent-mindedly, I watch the rows of, how do I read this? Cirrocumulus cloud? Illuminated by the westerly sun. This is the first time I've been able to look up at the sky with any sense of peace since receiving that love letter. She joins me as I'm staring at the slow parade of crimson clouds, and I invite her to watch with me. Okay, she answers, standing and looking up beside me. I turn from the sky and instead find myself entranced by her celadon eyes, tinged with a faint, madder gleam from the sun's reflection. Like me, she's stiff from the long meeting. She stretches, then turns to face me.
会議、ずいぶん長くかかってしまったわね。もうこんなに日が落ちている。秋の日は鶴瓶落としというからね。ついこの間までは暑さでへばっていたというのに、季節が巡るのは早い。ええ、もうハロウィンパーティーだもの。だいぶ話も定まったし、あとは用意するだけね。
Once everything is decided, it will be smooth sailing. All that's left is to put our plans into action.
定まったから。なに？
I'm so relaxed from watching the clouds that I accidentally voice my thoughts aloud. I tell her that I'm talking about the performance for the party.
用意する手はずは大方済んだし、あとは個人個人の問題だな。
ゆずりはは今年はどんな衣装を用意するつもりなの？
そうだな。僕だけ言うのもアンフェアだ。まずはネリーの衣装を教えてほしいな。
She opens her mouth to answer, but then stops and puts a finger to her pink lips like something's just occurred to her.
そうね。ただ教えるのじゃつまらないから。ゆずりは、当ててみて。
She flashes an impish smile. It's very distracting, but I manage to keep my mind on guessing.
そうだな。ネリーなら外国の王妃の幽霊とかじゃないか？
She stares at me, her eyes wide.
驚いた。ゆずりは、あなた超能力でも持っているの？
そんな能力があればベガスにでも行って人儲けしているよ。僕がしたのはただの推理さ。
I know that my longtime friend isn't particularly good at sewing, so she probably couldn't make anything requiring elaborate needlework, which means
既存の衣装を使ったものにするに違いない。
to be a ghost, all you need to do is rip up a dress, splatter it with blood, paint your face, and you're golden.
ねえ、なんで外国の王妃の幽霊をするって分かったの？
ネリーの顔つきで和風の幽霊は似合わないだろ？それと王妃なのはドレスに説得力を持たせるためさ。
A fancy dress that you're gonna rip up, splatter with blood and stuff, okay.
ドレスなのも分かっているの？
だからそんな目で見ないでくれよ。様式美ってだけさ。外国の幽霊だからってジーンズにパーカーじゃあまり怖くはならないから。
And she's not a fan of zombies, so that narrowed it down even further, I tell her.
そう。そうやって聞くと確かにそれしかないってわかるわね。
幽霊王妃か。きっと綺麗だろうな。ハロウィンパーティーが楽しみだよ。
褒めても何も出ないわよ。はい。
She hands me a candy, which I gratefully accept.
それでゆずりははどんな衣装にするの？
ベタなチョイスだよ。今回はドラキュラだ。前回使った幽霊船長の衣装も再利用できそうだしね。
ブラド3世ね。ゆずりはに似合いそうだわ。
She puts her hands together to form a square and holds it up to her eye, looking through it as though it will give her a view of me in the outfit.
ブラド3世。確かドラキュラのモデルだった人物か。
I don't have much interest in horror literature, but I've naturally absorbed some knowledge of it through being around Neri. I might have swatted up on it a little bit to impress her too. Okay, sorry.
そうね。やっぱりドラキュラの衣装ならあの生地は映えるかも。
Then, before I even have time to ask what she's talking about,
行きましょう。
she takes hold of my arm and drags me off with her. She's clearly gotten some crazy scheme in mind. The room's distinctive smell is ever present. Oh, that looks like heaven! Neri has brought me to the textiles room on the second floor of the dormitories. There isn't much coming and going from this room, so it probably doesn't get that much ventilation. The air is slightly stale and cool against my skin.
あまり良い思い出がある場所ではないんだよな。
Oh no, why? I recall being shut up in here working on my pirate costume, scared out of my wits by stories I'd heard from the older students of the haunted textiles room. Oh my god. Yeah, I think this is the first time we see it. I would have remembered.
この生地を見て。これマントに合いそうじゃない？
She pulls some velvet from a shelf and shows it to me with delight.
ああ、確かに良さそうだ。
でしょ？やっぱりドラキュラならマントは必須よね。
She's completely absorbed in the costume right now. With one ear still on Neri's chatter, I look over at the mannequins standing in the room. I ain't afraid of no ghost story.
さすがに 夜の作業中はいい気分はしなかったな。
何？
いや、なぜ被服室なのに鏡が置いてないのかってね。
Oh yeah, that's weird. Where's
マ
the
ネキン
mirror?
を置くならまずは姿見だろ。
Wouldn't it make more sense to provide a big mirror first before providing mannequins for fitting and measuring? Nettie puts the fabric down and nods, looking over at the mannequins dyed blood red in the setting sun.
鏡。そうね。私も疑問に思ったわ。
だろ。
Aww. We gotta hope that's not gonna be it, okay, Bea? Just think positive. Hopefully, okay? She's starting from whatever point she's starting from, but maybe the character will evolve, maybe things will happen, maybe she will slowly... I don't know, by interacting with others, broaden her horizons a little bit and get to a point where she's not seeing everything in such a negative light and is not so closed off to the world as she is right now. Let's see. A twisted smile contorts her features as she stares at the mannequins.
ねえ、知ってる？ある時期にモーテルで自殺者が急増したって話。
Okay.
急な話題転換だ。
Yeah, like where is this coming from? It's related, she tells me. She gazes at the silent mannequins as she continues.
急激な増加をした自殺者にどうしてだろうってとある機関が調査したそうなの。
The music, Jesus Christ.
するとその当時大人気だった備え付けのあるもののせいだと分かったの。
Particular type of furnishing? What is that?
話の流れからすると鏡かい？
ええ、鏡張りの部屋に一人というのは精神的に耐えられないそうなの。
被服室には置いていない？まあ、根を詰めて一人で作業しているとき。
That still makes no sense. If you're there making clothes for people to wear, you gotta have a mirror. Like, what? Imagine it, sitting there in the dark when all of a sudden you sense someone behind you and you turn around only to find...
鏡の中に自分以外の何者かが見えたら絶叫してしまうだろうね。
Oh god, such an active imagination.
自分が少しだけ変わって見えるというのも嫌ね。真顔で見つめているのに鏡の中の自分は笑っているとか。
Stop. The mere thought is giving me the shivers. If I'm being honest, I can't really handle scary stories. I don't know. This is weird. Like, I feel nothing. I just find it ridiculously funny. Like, the whole thing doesn't really do it for me. Probably because I would feel like in a safe haven in such an environment, right? So I could never probably think of like stuff like that.
お話としては好きだが。
Anything billed as a true story is a hard no. If it's something I can imagine happening to me, I'll end up never checking my reflection again. It's silly.
ゆずりはは鏡で怖い話を何か知らないの？
僕が知っているのはベタなやつだけさ。鏡に向かって「お前は誰だ?」というやつとかね。
聞いたことがあるわ。鏡に向かって話しかけたりするのよね。
細かくは知らないが、そんな感じの話だったな。
I rack my brains trying to stir up some faint recollection of a story about human experimentation. Then, my eyes land on the blood-red mannequins again, and a cold chill creeps up my spine. I paste on my cynical smile and attempt to change the subject.
それはそうと知っているかいネリー。化け猫がアンドンの油を舐めるって描写があるだろう。あれはろうそくが好きだからじゃないんだ。
I've never heard this one before. What?
当時は安い魚油を使っていたからの描写なんだよ。一般市民はろうそくなんて高級品でとても手が出なかったんだ。
So of course the cat would be drawn to it.
当時の食生活は野菜が主だったからね。その残りを餌として与えられる猫も 魚、タンパク質に飢えていたんだろう。そうだ、魚といえば川だが、川にも海胆は多いね。川の怪異といえば。
Phew, I've managed to shift the gears of the conversation ever so slightly. I'm loath to stay on the topic of proper ghost stories in a place that has such rumors associated with it. Then,
川の怪異ね。
そうだ、川といったら吸血鬼は川を渡れないという伝承もあったね。
ええ、ブラド3世。
we got to Vlad the Impaler. Okay, yeah, part of my country's history. Let's go. She interrupts herself with the cry of, "Oh, the cape!" And we're back to the original topic. That was a success. Okay, great, great.
裏地が赤のビロード生地なんだけど、表は黒地なの。これってマントにするのにぴったりじゃない？
確かに。これなら手直ししてマントにするのもだいぶ楽ができそうだ。
Ah, don't underestimate it though. Velvet is not that easy to work with. I take the velvet fabric from her and enjoy its smooth, pleasant feel under my fingertips.
そうでしょ？
Looks like I've managed to wrest the conversation from ghost stories right back to costumes again. Yes. At least the music has calmed down too. Nettie takes the fabric and holds it up against me. Her hand moves along my shoulder as she takes rough measurements by eye, then accidentally brushes over my breasts.
どうしたの？
いや、なんでもないよ。生地は十分かな。マントならせめて膝くらいまでは欲しいからね。
そうね。少し見てみましょう。
Ay, sorry. Didn't mean to do that. The scent of her perfume tickles my nostrils, and the sensation of her hands moving over my body makes me feel slightly awkward.
今が夕暮れ時でよかった。
The evening light means she won't be able to see how red I am. However,
譲りは？
she must have noticed something's off as she gazes up at me, her celadon eyes quizzical. I wonder just how the heck I'm going to explain away my scarlet cheeks. I'm sure she's gonna say something else. I really wanted to hear what she was about to say about Vlad. I don't know. Some crazy story. Probably.
どうしたんだい、ネリー。
以前もこんなことがあったなって思い出したの。あの時はこの生地がタオルで。
Yeah, I guess we all did that as kids. She strokes the soft fabric against my neck.
譲りはは粒濡れだった。
Ah, okay, no, she's remembering something with Yuzuriha. Okay, okay. The cloth tickles my throat. I murmured it. I remember too.
小学校の時、急な雨に降られ、二人でずぶ濡れになって、ネリーの家で服を借りた。
一緒にお風呂に入ったわよね。今じゃ絶対に一緒にお風呂なんて無理ね。
Didn't we just take a bath together last night? I asked her and she says that she meant a normal-sized bath.
お互い成長したものな。
そうね。私の家のお風呂では無理。昔は私の方が大きかったのにね。
そうだな。服も借りられない。
She puffs out her cheeks peevishly, informing me that she's not that much shorter. It's a mannerism of hers that only comes out when we're alone.
そうだ。私。
Oh, how did I always end up doing this? I'm so sorry.
そうだ。私は子供の頃から。
I reaffirmed those feelings once again. The feelings I've concealed ever since I was a child. Nettie tilts her head at me quizzically, and I bury my face in the soft velvet so that she won't see it flushing even darker. It's not hard to die well, the hard thing is to live well. Interesting. I recall a line from the movie Rome Open City. Is it the same line? Yeah, the same line. The glow of the sunset brings back my memories of yesterday, and I brush my fingers across my neck. The ghostly sensation of her fingers through the velvet still lingers there.
幼い頃から抱いていた気持ち。
That moment brought everything back. And now I feel hollow and somewhat resigned.
お返事を返してもらえるとは思っていませんでした。
Okay, this is happening. I addressed the younger girl, the one who'd sent me the love letter.
真摯に向き合ってくれた。だから僕も真摯に向き合わなくてはならないと思った。
My words are superficial. The girl flinches before forcing an awkward smile to her
きちんと
face.
断ってくださってありがとうございます。
Yeah, she's...
どうしても気持ちを伝えたかった。だから。
Aww. Thank you, she says again.
私とは違う。卑怯者ではない。
After what's happened these past few days, I've started to realize that I have to confront my own feelings. And that I have to tell my truth. In her letter, she'd written that I didn't have to respond, but I'd felt compelled to.
最後に一つだけ答えてくださいますか。八代先輩は誰か思う人がおられるのですか。
Her eyes are imploring. It's impossible for me to remain silent under that earnest, intense gaze.
いないよ。
Unable to remain silent, I lie. For a moment, the girl looks unbelievably upset. Yeah, this is a good thing. For both of them, I think. I've been the other girl. Okay, I know how it is. But I still look fondly on that memory. It was a good building block. I'm ashamed. I realize just what a cruel thing I've done.
ありがとうございます。八代先輩。
It takes a while for me to become aware that I can no longer hear her receding footsteps.
時として嘘の方が幸せなことがある。
A cheap phrase I have heard before comes to mind. My mouth twists into a self-deprecating grin. Look at me, trying to vindicate myself after the
やっ
fact.
ぱり臆病者だ。
I'm still the same person I was back when I first met Nettie. I'm still a coward, still a scaredy cat. I still have no confidence in myself. I'd thought meeting her had changed me. But as the girl, so the woman. You can't really change who you are. Right, I'll never change. That is a little bit too negative of a thought for a teenager. There are core things about us that true won't change, but generally as people we grow every day. I hope she gets to see that. No.
スオ君。
I'd looked at her standing there in the sunset glow. A timid girl with no fixed definition of herself, simply bobbing along on the tides of life. I'd seen myself in her. Seen my younger self superimposed on her. But the timid Suokun had changed for Mairi Kosaka's sake. She had called me to the chapel. She approached me. She spoke eloquently. She told me that she was the one who had started all the commotion about the Hookman, so she could search for the reasons behind Mairi's disappearance. Then...
3ヶ月ほど前、温室で頭を負傷する怪我をしましたよね。
え、ああの時は迷惑をかけた。僕が起こした事故だったというのに、高坂君にも迷惑をかけてしまった。
あの時の事故は本当に事故だったのですか？この学院には聖母以外のマリアがいるのですね。真実の女神が。
She'd said, glaring up at the crucified figure of Christ on the wall. She remained silent for a while before slowly dropping her gaze back down to me. The determination in her eyes pinned me to the spot.
八代先輩は知っておられるのでしょ？どうかお願いです。真実を私に教えてください。
Despite the firm look in her eyes, her words were pleading.
そうだ。君が推察した通りだ。この学院には神がいる。
やっぱりまゆりはそのことを伝えて、彼女は私に助けを求めているんだわ。
She clung to me, her expression a conflicted mix of joy and despair. She pleaded with me to tell her the truth, but I couldn't tell her everything.
知らない方がいい。
I am so confused. I have no idea what all of this is. There's another goddess, the goddess of truth. Mayuri wanted me to save her. From the goddess of truth? Or from what? Or what? I don't understand. Right, those words had been at the back of my mind then, too. There are times when a lie is kinder than the truth. But she's fundamentally different to me, with my fragile heart patched together by needle and thread. She had changed, and she pressed me fiercely, vowing to not give up. And so I had lied to Sokun, just as I lied now, when asked if I was in love with someone else. No, it wasn't a lie. Rather, I had underestimated her, believing she couldn't possibly do it.
謎を解く鍵なら教えてやってもいい。
I can't tell her the truth, which is why I'd wanted to give her at least a faint glimmer of hope.
引き継ぎだよ。
In the succession?
そうさ。僕の役職を君が引き継ぐんだ。
Oh, okay.
二階屋の会の会長となれたら、真実の扉の鍵を与えよう。会長を引き継ぐ際の代々伝えられる文言に真実の女神へと至る鍵がある。
This feels overtly convoluted. Why does Suo have to jump through all these hoops? Poor Suo. Suo Shirahane is not like me. I'd given her an impossible task, but she'd accepted the challenge and vowed to see it through. She has a pure and earnest heart.
僕はどうしたらいいんだろうね。
As my words fade into the sunset, I feel like I'm regressing back to a horribly timorous, childlike version of myself.
オズの魔法使いという童話がある。竜巻に遭い、おとぎの国であるオズの地へと降り立ったドロシー。偶然に恐ろしい東の魔女を退治し、マンチキンの国を救った彼女は、その場にいた優しい北の魔女から、家に帰るためにはエメラルドの町に行かねばならぬと教えられた。父母のもとへと帰るため決意したドロシーは黄色いレンガ敷きの道を頼りに歩き出す。その旅の途中、最初の同行者と出会う。カカシだ。カカシはどうにかして木の棒にくくりつけられた体を外し、脳みそを得るために旅の同行者として共に行けないかと懇願する。熱意のこもった演説の反面、ドロシーは物語の中であっさりと同行を許した。簡単に仲間に迎え入れたことに私はひどく動揺したのを覚えている。カカシにとって世界が変わるほどの選択、それが出会い、語り、ものの数分で開けていく感覚。これから始まるお話は、選ぶべき道を軽率に選んだ愚か者のお話。
Okay. So cryptic. The scarecrow who wanted a brain. Okay. I get how my dad feels. Watching the tropical fish peck at their flakes of food is incredibly soothing. Since we had to move around a lot because of my father's work, he rarely brought anything hobby-related into the home. However, the one thing he could never give up, no matter how many times we moved house, was his aquarium. At first he'd only kept aquatic plants, but after I'd shown an interest in tropical fish, he started to keep these too. Since he was often late home, I maintained the tank and looked after the fish in his stead. Truthfully, I'd only taken a liking to tropical fish after watching a movie where all the characters were fish. Did you watch Finding Nemo? What are you talking about? Looking down on those vibrant creatures darting about is surprisingly relaxing. Between his demanding job and looking after our family, my dad must have found some welcome relief in his cherished aquarium. The first week of October has already flown by. Preparations for the Halloween party are in full swing. While keeping track of our progress and tending to club functions doesn't take up too much of my time, the Council of Nicaea is required to lend a hand if anyone asks for help with their individual preparations. And then there's the costume making, which all students are expected to participate in. I murmur with a smirk as though sensing danger. As though sensing danger, the fish scatter. Swimming, eating, and sleeping. I'm envious of their straightforward, instinctual life. I'm poking at a tank when I see a shadow reflected in the glass. I say as I turn to face the girl behind me. Ah, Chidori. Still unused to our school's formal manner of greeting, a grimace mars her pretty face as she returns the salutation, going on to inform me that it's not as if they're joined at the hip. Same, pretty much same. I recall that I've previously had another classmate tell me I don't look like an animal lover too. Is it really that hard to imagine? Seeing me fold my arms sulkily, Takasaki-kun smiles a little. Now that she mentions it, she doesn't strike me as the type either. It's hard to picture the rigid, ever-composed Takasaki-kun playing with animals. Uses VA, specializes in eroge. She voiced next to Zero. What is SFW? Sorry, characters. Okay. It's so nice to see Chidori again, even though it's only been a week. Yeah, it's nice. She's cute in her uniform. She's a pleasant presence, so that's cool. As I mutter to myself, Takasaki-kun sticks a long pale finger into the tank to stroke the fish's scales. Ah, safe for work. Sorry, I'm really bad. I'm really bad with acronyms. There are some that I see, I Google, I'm like, oh, that's what it is. Then after a while I see it again and I'm like, oops, I actually forgot what it was. Sorry. Right. But I think Yuzu's voice is really cool though. I like her, I think it's fitting for the character. So she's doing a great job. Regardless. She has an absurd number of voice roles. 780! What? Wow, that's a lot. That explains how she sells those dirty jokes. I guess so. I guess so. I also love her VA. She does a great job in this game. Yeah, no, she's great. She's great. Overall, the voice acting is really good for all the characters.
正直少し前までは何とも好きでも嫌いでもありませんでした。そういえば一時ウサギの世話をしていたね。はい、初めは義務感からだったのですが、触れると壊れてしまいそうな感触だとか、私が世話をしないとダメなところとか。
In other words, they were cute and they triggered your motherly protective instincts. Catching herself, she blushes faintly.
世話をすれば答えてくれるのが嬉しいかもです。
Aww, cute. Her passionate words resonate with me, and I comment that it might be nice to have a pet again someday. She gives a slight nod and follows up by saying that one day she'd like to have a pet rabbit of her own.
八代先輩は飼うならどんなペットが欲しいですか?
A dog, maybe a bird. Ooh. What kind of person is Yuzuriha? A dog person? A bird person? Somehow I don't see her as a bird person. Somehow that doesn't really fit the image. Oh yeah, it's a dog. We answered dog. Okay. Yeah, I can picture that. I really can picture this. Fox person. That too, I suppose. They say foxes are dog software on cat hardware. It fits. I'm a little surprised to hear a probing question from her.
やはり犬かな?
Oh, the flower has grown just tiny little bit. I answer.
王道ですね。王道か。猫派のものに石を投げられそうだが、やはり分かりやすく懐いてくれる動物がいいな。それなら熱帯魚は違うのでは？世話をしているものの顔は覚えてくれるものだよ。ならお魚もいいですね。ああ。だが分かりやすく甘えてくる動物も飼ってみたい。顔を舐められたり、思い切りお腹を撫で回してみたいからね。
I can totally picture that. Yep, that fits. I voiced the wish I've secretly harbored for a long time. Takasaki-kun blinks at me, then smiles.
なんだか可愛いですね。
Yeah, right? She says.
え？犬がかい？そうだろう。君も犬派になりたまえ。違います。八代先輩がです。可愛い？ありがとう。
Feeling my cheeks burn at her straightforward compliment, I coughed to try to cover my awkwardness. Wasn't Neri compared to a dog before? Oh, right. Yeah, probably. That sounds vaguely like something that might have happened.
それで放課後のこの時間に熱帯魚の世話をするなんて、ハロウィンパーティーの準備の方は順調に進んでいるんですね。順調だよ。スイス時計のように動いている。
With one eye still on the fish tank, I tack on a but.
こともなしにさせるためにはそれなりに苦労が多い。だからこうして心の平穏を欲して熱帯魚と戯れているのさ。
Breaks are healthy.
そうなんですか？あまり疲れた風には見えませんけど。
Maybe that's one of the benefits of your unique looks, she says with the utmost seriousness.
クォーターはクォーターなりに容姿の悩みがある。そうですね。すみません。
She cringes and I shrug to show her I'm just messing with her.
何？名所旧跡へ旅行に行くと必ず観光客に共に写真に写ってとせがまれる。外国人然とした顔つきが珍しいのだろうね。外国人とかではなく八代先輩だからだとは思いますけど。
As she murmurs quietly, I reflect how I'd never have expected Takasaki-kun to be so talkative. Feeling suddenly affectionate toward her, I find myself staring at her pretty delicate features.
何ですか？いや、随分と穏やかな表情になったものだとね。初め会った時は硬い顔つきだったからね。
She seems to want to say something in response, but stops herself.
やはり八重垣くんとの出会いが変えたのだろうね。新しい道に乗ることができた。
Yeah. See, yeah, it's interesting how she is noting change in other people, and like this is change that has happened over the course of like, let's say, a couple of months or so. So it's not like it's a super drastic or something, but it's like gradual, and you can sense how their vibe is different from when they first came to the academy to how they are today, right? So how can you like notice that in other people, but then say I can't change? Of course you can. Of course you can grow and improve things about yourself. We all can do that. I hope she gets to see that too.
そうですね。エリカのおかげです。
Yeah. And other people that we interact with will bring that out in us. She murmurs quietly, a blush staining her cheeks. Then as she continues trailing her finger through the water of the tank, I tell her that I'm glad they're both on an equal footing.
対等ですか？
そうさ。互いに同じくらいの気持ちであることが望ましい。どちらかが強く依存しているカップルは破綻してしまう。
そうですか。私としては少しくらい頼り合う関係の方がいいと思いますけど。
I'm about to tell her she only thinks that way because things are going well right now, but I stop myself. I shouldn't have said what I just did, but when I thought of her and Yaegaki-kun, I'd regurgitated my own warped feelings that underclassmen had already seen right through. Instead, I say what's necessary to smooth things over.
対等というのは5対5ってことだろ？力関係が崩れていくと6対4、7対3となっていく。
Okay, what is she going at here?
いいかい高崎くん。こいつをかけてみると 5×5 は25だ。6×4 は24。7×3 は21。徐々に歪み弱まっていく。
Interesting way to put it in math.
一瞬うなずけましたけど、それってこじつけなんじゃないですか？
Yeah. Looks like she realizes it's a stretch. I smile sardonically. Yuri math, yeah.
健全な関係はそれだけ尊いということだよ。失ってからでは遅い。今の関係を大切にしたまえ。
I'm still giving advice that's probably unwanted, but she smiles and nods. Her bashful expression makes me feel uncomfortable. I tell her I'd better be getting back to the console. Hanabishi-kun tells me she's on her way back from the library.
八代先輩は2回屋の回ですか？
ああ、少し前に終わったところさ。
Poking my nose into Takasaki-kun's affairs had brought back memories of that day, and I wanted to escape from reality for a bit. Of course, I don't tell her that part.
校内を少し見回っていたんだよ。しかし、僕としたことが見逃しがあったとはね。
Holy shirt, a math metaphor. I'm saving this. What does this make so much sense to me? I mean, it makes sense if you want to use this as an illustration of the point, right? The point being that if the things aren't balanced, the strength of the relationship slips away from you. That makes perfect sense. I get it. But she took it like in a in a fancy way of like, oh, if you think of ratios, right, at like 5 to 5, 6 to 4, 7 to 3, and then you multiply the numbers, yeah, you get lower numbers when the ratios are skewed. So that means that it's a bit of a stretch. It's like just reaching out for something that makes sense, but it does. The point is valid. Okay, the point is valid. I don't disagree with the point. I wag my finger at Hanabishi-kun, who exited the school building after me. She smiles.
八代先輩を出し抜いたなんて名誉ですね。
そうです。寄宿舎まで一緒に帰りませんか？ああ、構わないよ。というか、スオ君とは一緒ではないのかい？
Yeah, that's also a good point. But she shakes her head in response to my implied question of whether we should wait for her.
今日は図書委員の日ではないんです。私が個人的に本を読もうって。アミティへの趣味に合わせてみたってわけか。花火師くんは本当にいいアミティエなんだね。
I'm so sorry. I regard her affectionately as she denies the compliment, blushing and fiddling with her braids. Curious about the book she's holding, I ask her.
それでどんな本を借りたんだい？
Yeah, no worries.
ア
Take
ミティ
care,
エの
take
趣
care.
味に合わせるなら実用書系ではないのだろう？
Thank you for coming by.
ああ、これです。
She holds it out to show me the title.
三島由紀夫の仮面の告白。
Confessions of a Mask. Ooh, what is
八
that?
代先輩？いや、以前読んだことがあるが面白かった。目の付けどころがいいね。
Her blush reappears, and I feel the emotions I experienced while reading Confessions of a Mask rush back all over again.
できすぎだな。
I mutter to myself.
八代先輩は何をプレゼントされると嬉しいですか？
As we walk our way back to the dorms, Hanabisha-kun startles me with a random question. I hope I didn't accidentally voice the worries I've been turning over in my head.
急な話題だね。誰かにプレゼントでもするのかい？ええ、旧友のお誕生日は必ず祝うようにしているので、八代先輩は今までいただいたもので特に嬉しかったものはありますか？そうだな。
How about sending a card? Why not put the moves on them? What? Oh, that's too out there, even for her. Oh, that's the answer too. Oh god. Okay. Looking into the earnest eyes behind the lenses of her glasses, I find myself wanting to mess with Hanabishi-kun.
あまり深く考えすぎなくてもいいんじゃないかな。え？何がですか？プレゼントだよ。こういうものは古来から贈る気持ちが大切と相場が決まっているだろう？
She smiles innocently in agreement, then.
自らがプレゼントだと迫ったらいい。きっとスオ君も喜んでくれるはずだ。なんでスオさんのことになっているんですか？花火師くんがプレゼントするのだろう？なら相手はスオ君に決まっているじゃないか。
That's a little bit, it wasn't that great of a joke in the context of what has already happened between Rika and Suo, you know, with the whole you are dating me now kind of situation. But yeah, okay. A bit unfortunate.
違います。スオさんの誕生日は3月で。八代先輩、そんなに近づかれたら恥ずかしいです。そうだね。花火師くんのハートはスオくんだけのものというわけだ。残念。
When I pull back from her, she's flushed red from the tip of her nose to the roots of her hair. My worries continue to plague me as I gaze at the figure of my underclassman, illuminated by the crimson rays of the setting sun. I hunch down a little as the chill autumn air caresses my back.
そうだ。そろそろ寒くなる頃だし、マフラーや手袋なんてのはどうだろう？マフラー、手袋ですか？少し前に届きましたけど。そうではなくて手編みさ。乙女チックでプレゼントには最適じゃないか？確かに。スオさんからもらったら死んじゃうくらい嬉しいですけど。
I smiled to myself. I knew it was for Suo-kun. A scarf, huh?
考えが読まれたかと思って焦ったが。はい？何ですか？いや、悩むくらいなら 動いてみようと決めていたところだったのさ。ハロウィンのことですか？ネリーの誕生日プレゼントのことだよ。
October 17th. Feeling like Hanabishikun has unknowingly given me the kick in the butt I needed, I clap her on the back and thank her.
はい。いえ、どういたしまして？
Poor Rika, she doesn't understand what's happening. What I actually do will depend on my mood in the moment, but however much I despise change. Ah, so she despises change. Okay. There's a hope inside me that perhaps things will be different once I've been able to celebrate my best friend's birthday together with her. She despises change, but she hopes for change. Ay, ay, ay. She fears change, yeah. She hopes for it too. I don't understand her. She is in such a conflicting kind of state in her own head. I hope she manages to sort it out. I scratch my head. I guess I was off the mark. After my conversation with Hanabishikun yesterday, I've decided to knit something for Neri for her birthday. So I've come looking for my knitting holy Bible. However, it doesn't take a genius to realize that the whole school is in the middle of their preparations for Halloween. Almost all the books on dressmaking have been checked out. Of course, anything about knitting has been snapped up as well. I learned to sew at an early age, starting with replacing the buttons on my father's coats and moving on to stitching up my brother's ripped jeans. But I've never learned to knit. Oh gosh, another one. No thank you. Goodbye. There'd been a fad for it while I was in elementary school, but for some reason I'd found it embarrassing and never joined in. I glanced over towards the librarian's desk, but she isn't there. Guess she's not on duty today. I'm slightly relieved. I've been feeling awkward ever since I stirred things up with stirred things up by telling her to aim for the presidency of the Council of Nicaea. My emotions are conflicted. I want to see her, but at the same time I'm nervous about talking to her. Since I haven't been able to find a book, the only option now left to me is finding someone to teach me who will also keep their mouth shut about it. Ooh, I think I've been spoiled about this by Steam because they gave me a card. Okay, I see where this is going. But even if it's someone I know to be discreet, if they're too close to us, it's still possible they'll accidentally let something slip to Neri. So it can't be anyone on the council or even any of our fellow classmates. Which by process of elimination leaves me with... drumroll. Hehe, hello. I jump, startled by the sudden voice behind me. Turning around, I find... Yaigaki-kun, smiling her usual feline smile.
何がです？頭がいっぱいで周りが見えなくなっていた。後ろを取られるとは一生の不覚だ。
Drawing an imaginary sword, I imitate a character from one of the period dramas I've been into recently. Yagaki-kun's smile doesn't falter.
猫のように抜き足差し足って具合で驚かそうとしてましたからね。ああ、足がこれだから、もちろん比喩表現ってやつですがね。
That's a good one. She was tiptoeing. She slaps her knees.
で、八代先輩は何を探しているんです？最近よくここで会いますが、今日も料理本探しですか？いや。
I'm about to tell her that I'm looking for a book on knitting, but I find myself embarrassed by how not me that would seem. Yeah, once again, the concern of like the image other people have of her and how the thing that she wants to do doesn't fit with that image. Ugh. Ah.
仮面の告白でも置いてないかと思ったのだけどね。
I mutter.
ああ、三島由紀夫ですか。少し前、千鳥がハマっていたな。
The book had popped into my mind because I'd seen Hanabishi-kun with it yesterday, but I wonder now if perhaps Takasaki-kun recommended it to her. Adopting an air of innocence, I ask her if her amitié partner is a fellow bookworm.
いや、そういうわけではないんです。ただ、私と同じものを知っていた方が話題が合わせやすいだろうってことで。
That's so cute.
そいつはアミティア冥利に尽きるね。
まあ、ありがたいですかね。
She looks away, her cheeks faintly flushed. She really looks her age in moments like this.
三島由紀夫もいいが、せっかくだ。八重垣くんのおすすめを読んでみるとしよう。
私は特にこれが好きって本はありませんよ。小説も実用書も辞典だって隔てはない。暇がありゃ何でも読みます。
You'd read a dictionary?
そいつは
You're a bona fide bookworm, I tell her, and her cat-like smirk curls into view.
逆に八代先輩のおすすめってやつを知りたいですね。
処置に勧められるものはないが。
How about the Japanese dictionary, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz? I guess not a dictionary. Come on, yeah, okay. We reference the story that's being used as a metaphor. Oh, yeah, Wonderful Wizard of Oz. Without even thinking,
オズの魔法使い。
the title of my favorite book as a child falls from my lips.
オズの魔法使いですか。ライマン・フランクボームだ。八代先輩にしては随分と可愛らしい本を読むんですね。
いや、おすすめなんかじゃない。気にしないでくれ。
I feel like I've had an old wound prodded. Ignoring the pain, I try to brush it off casually with my usual
可
grin.
愛いと言ったことが気に障りましたか。
She's ready. Like Suo-kun, Yaegaki-kun is good at sensing subtle emotional shifts. She must have realized she hit the sensitive spot.
なに？最近友人が読んでいたのを目にしていたのでね。つい口に出してしまったのさ。
ですか。
です。
She finally smiles when I mimic Ringo-kun's speech quirk, and I chide myself internally for getting emotional.
それでは別の聞き方をするとしよう。八重垣くんが選ぶおすすめでなくて、僕に勧めるならどんな本が適していると思うかね。
It's similar to my original question, but distinctly different. I'd expected her to rack her brains over it, but...
そうですね。八代先輩にぴったりの本がありますよ。
She says it as though it's already a done deal.
例えば、編み物の指南書とかね。
もしかしてずいぶん前から見ていたのかい？
その口ぶりからすると当たりのようですね。
How does she know?
引っ掛けられたのか。君も探偵のような真似をするね。
白羽に鍛えられましてね。ま、消去法ですよ。八代先輩がうろうろしていたのは要塞の図書が置かれている場所だ。だが衣装の凝ったドレスを一人で作れてしまう八代先輩が今さら要塞の本を読むとも思えない。
編み物の本というわけか。季節を考えたらさらに選択肢は狭まるものな。
Ay, ay, ay. She smirks with satisfaction, then jerks a thumb toward herself.
編み物なら私が教えましょうか。
There we go. She offers.
いいのかい？
Her feline smile curves higher as she tells me that, of course, she wouldn't. It's an expression that sets alarm bells ringing.
なんだか犯罪者の手口を思い出すな。
へえ、どんなです？
What?
はじめは気のいいふりをして小さい音をどんどん打っていく。そしてたまりにたまったところで仕事を頼む。断りづらい状況を作るんだな。そして裏の仕事を手伝わせ自分の一味に引き入れるんだよ。
What a vivid imagination you have, Yuzuriha. Erika chuckles.
学院のカリスマに歌手を作っておくのも一つの手かと思いましてね。
She brags, going by the intuition I've cultivated from observing other people since early childhood. She's only half joking.
そう君と同じ。私と同じ気質を持っている相手だ。
Being indebted to someone isn't so bad so long as it serves to bring you closer together.
恥を忍んでお願いするよ。
I clasp my hands together and accept the offer from the cute kitty cat sat before me. Cute kitty cat. Okay, that's adorable. Alright, let me pour some water. I'm surprised, Takasaki-kun says.
まるで女の子みたい。
Is she saying that about Erika? Her almond eyes grow wide as she addresses Yaegaki-kun, who's teaching us how to knit. Yaegaki-kun scrubs a hand through her messy locks.
なんだ、もしかして私に言っているのか？両方よ。
Looks like I'm being dragged into this too.
ま、僕自身似合わないことは自覚しているけどね。確かに、八重垣くんが編み物ができるのは意外だったな。そうですか。ネクラなインドア派女がまずやりそうなことでしょ。
She asserts confidently, but Takasaki-kun's pressing gaze compels her to explain further.
以前、バスキア教諭にプレゼントをしてから、ものづくりに目覚めたんだよ。
Ah.
そうなの？隠すことないじゃない。今みたいにからかわれるからだよ。お前はどうなんだ？編み物できるのかよ。趣味がなかった私に聞くの？相変わらず嫌味なのね。性分なんでね。
To listen to them, you'd think they were having a quarrel, but it seems like this is just how the two of them communicate. There's no animosity between them. They're like two cats play fighting. That's the perfect image. Yes, absolutely.
さて、大体の説明は済みましたが、八代先輩は何を編むつもりなんですか？マフラーに挑戦してみようと思うのだが。それなら間に合うか。いや、手袋とか言われたらなかなかに難易度があるので、初心者には難しいんですよ。あなたも始めたばかりの初心者じゃない。ムカつくことしか言えないのか。マフラーなら教えやすいと思ったんだよ。ほら、でかい体を横にどけろ。
What? Nudging Takasaki-kun out of the way, she moves her wheelchair over to the closet, opens the door and pulls out a cardboard box.
それって編みかけのマフラーだよ。こいつで練習といこう。
She shoots a smile in my direction. Don't think. Feel. Okay. The famous line from Enter the Dragon rises to the forefront of my mind. There it is.
というか、ひたすら反復作業なのだね。
I mean, yeah. Look at that. Look at how cute it is. Look at how cute Chidori's face is. It's expressing so much. That little pout. Oh, so cute.
まっすぐ編んで縫い続けられるから初心者用なんですよ。反復作業が嫌いな人は苦手なのかもですけどね。
Chidori is not sure about anything anymore. Yaegaki-kun's slim fingers and soft breath tickle my skin as she shows me how to do it. I really have to concentrate to stop myself from blushing.
そうか。先ほどから手ほどきを受けているが、なかなか進まないものだね。この毛糸の太さは合い太ですが、この太さの毛糸で長さ140センチくらいのマフラーを編むとなると、1日10センチくらいずつ進めるなら14日くらいかかりますかね。14日？それじゃ間に合わない。なので毛糸の太さで極太を選び、ザクザク編むことにすれば1週間くらいで間に合うかもです。そうか。それならなんとか間に合うか。
Yaegaki-kun seems to have predicted my thoughts ahead of time. It has come up with this alternative.
今回は一目ゴム編みでなくガーター編みにしたのも時間をネックに置いたからです。
It also depends, I think, on the thickness of the needles as well, because the smaller they are, the tighter the loops. I don't know what to call them in English, but I guess that's what it would be.
編み方もいろいろあるのだね。サクサク編むには一目ゴム編みの方がいいですが、ガーター編みは表編みだけでいいから間違えにくい。一目ゴム編みとやらは違うのかい？そっちは表目裏目と交互に編まなくちゃならない。ぼーっとやっていると誤って裏目裏目と編んだりするので、間違った場合のリカバリーが大変なんですよ。随分と僕のことを考えて選んでくれているんだね。ありがとう。やい。別に。ただ受けたからにはきちんとやりたいだけですよ。
The way she blushes and turns her head aside is so cute. Her fingers entwined with mine as she demonstrates how to perform the stitches feel strangely sensual.
もしかして役得だったのかもしれないな。
羨ましい。
Takasaki-kun's barely audible whisper is filled with resentment. Looks like she's having the same thoughts as me.
今度高崎くんも教えてもらうといい。同行の死が増えるのはいいことだ。まあ、教えてほしいって言うなら。
Yaigaki-kun responds, her cheeks still slightly reddened, and Takasaki-kun smiles brightly.
八代先輩はいい人だわ。
Although Yaigaki-kun snarkily comments that it doesn't take much to sway her, she doesn't seem altogether displeased.
どうにも二人には当てられるよ。白羽ならこの機会を逃さずに恋バナをしましょうとかいうタイミングですね。
恋バナ？ああ、恋愛のお話ね。八代先輩は豊富そうだから後学のため聞いておきたいわね。
恋愛話と言ってもね。
Yaigaki-kun's hands urge me to keep knitting while I think. Dazzle them with knowledge, tease Takasaki-kun. What does this even mean, to dazzle them with knowledge? Okay. I don't know what these options are. What the fuck? We tease Takasaki-kun. Okay. I decide to have a little fun. After being made to feel like a third wheel around them, an idea to mess with them comes to mind. A cynical smile spreads across my features.
告白は受けるが、付き合ったことはないから、高崎くんの高額にはならないだろうね。
お付き合いしたことがないんですか？意外です。
なかなかタイミングが合わなくてね。そういえば知っているかい？八重垣くん。はい。以前耳にした俗説でね。首にほくろがあるタイプは推しに弱いという。聞いたことはあるかな？
She has a beauty spot on her neck. What are you doing, Yuzuriha? What is this? Takasaki compresses her hand to her neck in a fluster.
いや、聞いたことがありませんね。
I can tell that she's trying her best not to let any trace of embarrassment show on her face.
思った以上のことをしているのかな。
Figuring that teasing them any further would just be mean, I tell them it was just a bad joke. Okay, fine. Time passes by in silence for a while as I steadily move my fingers.
そういえば以前の白羽さんたちに似た話があるって聞いたわ。
Takasaki-kun suddenly pipes up. I guess she's counting out. She's continuing our earlier girl talk.
へえ、それは。その話題はデリケートなんだよ。もう少し考えてしゃべる。
Yikes.
あ、そうね。
それで、処置仲間がどうしたって？
結局聞くんじゃない。私と同期の転入生、あの中の3人が何でも三角関係だそうよ。
Everyone is in love triangles here. What the heck?
三角関係。
There's nothing particularly strange about the word, but it somehow sounds weird coming from Takasaki-kun's lips.
で、白羽は首を突っ込んでないんだな。
似た話があると言っただけでしょ。白羽さんは関係ないわ。
She switches back to instructing me. Everything's hunky-dory again. However, her Amitia partner seems disgruntled.
3人1組のアミティアか。僕の時は2人組でよかったよ。
なぜです？
隣でイチャイチャされたらかなわない。実は今もそんな気持ちを抱いているよ。
I wink at her and she blushes visibly. Looks like she's regained her spirits.
アミティアか。
I'm about to start girlishly fantasizing about what things would have been like if Nerine and I were Amitia partners. Shaking it off, I focus on my knitting teacher's instructions. For your judgment, O great teacher. Strawberry shortcake. When you think of cake, that's what you picture. I carried a plate of homemade strawberry shortcake over to my teacher. Bea, brace yourself. Hang in there. The picture is too good. She solemnly digs her fork into it, slicing through the moist sponge and fresh cream. Then she lifts the nearly cut piece to her spellbindingly beautiful lips and...
なんだか、味がしないです。
そうか。
How can it look like that and not taste like much? What? My shoulders slump. A fail, huh?
先輩。
I've been working on this card for a little while now. I know it's not like me at all, seeing the knitting needles of ball of yarn sitting atop my chair whenever I return to my room still gives me a laugh.
さながら少女漫画の一場面。
But if you leave it visible on the chair, wouldn't Nerinen see it? Ah, wait. They don't. I have this. Why do I have this feeling that they share a room? They don't, right? Why is it so hard to wipe that off my mind? Okay. It's all good. It's fine. There are so-called girly things that I actually like, but I realize they don't exactly jibe with my image. That's what makes me snigger. Still,
毒を食らわば皿まで。
once I'd made up my mind to go all in for her birthday, I'd got to thinking about what I'd need, and I'm already working diligently on her present.
失敗は誰でもあります。気にしなくても。
So Ichigo's trying to I think that's Ichigo's voice, I can't tell because it's like so low. She's trying to comfort you and your mind is somewhere else. Then I'd realized that it wouldn't do to have a cake for the birthday girl. Sorry. Then I'd realized that it wouldn't do not to have a cake for the birthday girl too. I'm really sorry, I'm kind of tired, so my brain is spacing out as well. And so I decided that alongside my gift, I'd also prepare a cake.
ゆずりは先輩、聞いてますか？
I'm snapped out of my train of thought by someone shaking my arm. I guess I was trying to avoid thinking about my very real failure just now.
ん？ああ、すまない。超話半分だったよ。
I guess that's because the story in Ate and Printemps had been making us think that they're together, but they're not. I didn't think that they're together. I got the sense that they weren't. That there was maybe some closeness there, but they weren't actually together. I don't know why. I couldn't shake this idea of my mind that they're sharing a room, but they're not. It was mentioned very clearly that they're not. I remember that, but it's kind of like, I don't know. I guess I've been too used so far that the girls who are kind of like involved more or less share the room as well. And here it's not the case, so the pattern is broken, but my mind hasn't like caught up with it or something. Okay. I'll be fine. Sorry.
超って、どれくらい話半分だったんですか？
100をマックスとしたら2か3くらいだな。
That's not half. That's not anywhere near half.
超話半分じゃないですか！
I apologize again, shaking my head to try and clear away the cobwebs that must have built up as I was concentrating.
しかし、これほど練習しても上達しないとは、何か呪いでもかけられているのかね。
でも、 スポンジは上手に焼けるようになったじゃないですか。
I don't know, I have a hard time understanding how this can be such a failure, right? Because if she's learned to bake the sponge perfectly, yeah, I'm assuming they had some taste tests and something and they decided, okay, the sponge is fine. And then what else do you have? You have whipped cream and strawberries to put it all together. How can it taste bad? I don't get it. I mean, as friends at least. Somehow I thought that they'd have enough compatibility on the amitié test to end up as roommates. Alright. Yeah, that's also, like, it's weird that they're not. Because it would be such a good fit given their closeness. But, I mean, that's alright. It's just, it breaks the pattern a little bit, so I have to kind of actively think about it and not instinctually assume. Yeah. She's right. Perfecting the base sponge has been a long, arduous journey full of ups and downs, but I've managed it.
あとは生クリームだけだというのにうまくいかないものだな。
I tried a bite for myself. The sponge is perfectly springy. All that practice paid off. No problemo, but the cream... Okay, what's wrong with the cream?
甘くない。まるで僕の人生のようだ。
Okay, so add more sugar. I don't get why is it such an issue. And also, like, before you put it all together with the cake, don't you just taste it? Don't you do a taste test? Just like, because I'm assuming it's not that difficult to make another batch of cream if the first one didn't pan out, right? But to figure out that it didn't work out only after you've put all of it together, then you've wasted the sponge and the fruit as well. Okay.
大丈夫ですよ。初めて作って上手にできる人なんていません。一歩ずつ着実に上達しています。
Yeah, I support that approach. When I wonder aloud if that's really true, Ichiko-kun chimes in with her agreement that, and Ringo-kun nods emphatically.
でも、なんで今ショートケーキなんですか？今日はイタリア月間ですよ。
Italian month? What? According to the cooking club's schedule, this month is dedicated to making Italian food. I'm well aware of that. Wanting to bake a cake for Nerina's birthday, I begged Sakuragi-kun, the club president, to give me special permission to make a cake instead.
それは
Yuri in general. Oh wow, they were roommates, Automne. No, they weren't roommates. Yes.
どうしてですか？
Yeah, that's spot on. The Sasaki sisters and Suokun's eyes are searching mine for the truth. I might be able to dupe the twins, even if I hesitate for too long. But Suokun's is another matter. Gotta think fast.
弟の誕生日が間近なのだよ。手作りのケーキを送ってやりたくてね。
I tell them.
そうなんですか？弟さん思いですね。
Convinced by my explanation, they nodded. I silently apologized to my brother for using him as an excuse.
うちに戻った時にマッサージしてやるからな。
それじゃあ弟さんのためにも頑張らなきゃですね。
そうだね。スポンジの残りはあるし。
生クリーム製作をしましょう。今度は私的にも手伝います。
I give Ichiko-kun a dubious look as she grabs a
生
bowl.
クリームの作り方はそう変わりませんし、いちごさんに教わってはどうでしょうか。
Looks like she has my teacher's endorsement.
そうだね。では再度挑戦するとしよう。
I resolve to face my cream issues head on. The recipe is simple enough. All you need is fresh cream and granulated sugar. As far as the equipment goes, you just need a big bowl filled with ice water to cool it. The cream has to be cold as you whip it, otherwise the fats will separate and it will end up grainy rather than the smooth consistency you want. Where I went wrong last time was in not adding enough sugar, which meant that it wasn't sweet enough. And it turned out grainy too because I over-whipped it. Apparently that can happen if you keep the temperature down. Okay, right. So these are two aspects to improve it.
そろそろかな?
My cream is just about at the soft peak stage. When I scoop it up with the whisk, it slides smoothly back down into the bowl to be quickly absorbed into the rest of the white mixture.
まだまだですね。もうちょっとなのでファイトですよ。ゆず。
Fighto.
やりすぎないように注意してかき混ぜていこう。
I resume whipping. Until now, I've been holding the bowl at an angle and moving the whisk from side to side. It must be a pain though to make it manually, right? I would just use a mixer. Like I wouldn't bother to whisk it manually. Oh god. Now that the cream is starting to thicken, I draw an oval shape through it, folding the air into the liquid. Just how my teacher taught me. I persist in my close quarters battle with the cream. After a while, I ask the nearby Ichiko-kun if it's ready yet.
ですね。七分立てまでになったらスポンジの周りに塗りましょう。
Maybe taste it first. Just like I've done before, I spread the semi-solidified cream onto the surface of the sponge. I'm good at this part. I'm finished in no time. Then it's back to whip some more creamy ass.
弟さん、確かサッカーが得意なんでしたよね。ああ、勉強はあまり振るわないが、スポーツは得意のようだね。特にサッカーは好むようだ。進学もスポーツ推薦を望んでいるそうだよ。へえ、すごいですね。スポーツが得意っていろいろ試してサッカー一本にしたんですか？
I can't help but laugh as I recall the unbelievable reasoning behind his decision.
夢の中でダビド・ルイスに一緒にプレーしようと説得されたからだと言っていたな。
That's funny.
へえ、そういうのも理由になるんですね。何を目指すだとか好きになるとかは些細なことさ。
My current batch of cream is forming stiff peaks.
生クリームの完成。あとはペストリーバッグに入れてデコレーションするだけだ。
But before that, I scoop up some cream from the bowl using my finger and lick it off. Thank God.
甘い。
Okay. Is it the right kind of sweet?
成功ですか？
Following my lead, Ichiko-kun also scoops up some cream and licks it from her finger. She immediately grimaces. No!
甘いですね。
It's overly sweet, isn't it?
ああ。グラニュー糖を入れすぎたらしい。
I'd measured the amount out so carefully. I feel the heavy weight of failure settle on my shoulders once again.
でも、今度はボソボソになってません。進歩ですよ。まあ、そうだね。
It's nice that she's encouraging me, and I manage to smile despite the heavy burden hanging over me. Ichiko-kun scoops up another blob of cream and eats it.
さっきは甘く感じましたけど、実はそれほどでもなかったような気がします。
Or your mouth has become numb to it. With that, she reaches into the bowl again and then holds her index finger out to me.
ん？そうかな。
Yeah, I guess so. I lick the cream from her dainty finger and it really is too sweet.
どうですか？
She seems restless, her tone filled with concern for me.
悪くない。
I answer.
八代先輩。
ん？
My teacher tugs at my sleeve and at her urging I look around us.
少し軽率だったな。
The other cooking club members are shooting us sidelong glances, their faces flushed.
最近、いちごくんが積極的になっていると感じていたのに。
I tell myself again what a rash act that was. I don't want to end up having to lie and hurt someone again like I did in that sunset-lit greenhouse.
ゆずりは先輩。だいぶ形になった。いちごくん。あ、いや、3人にはお礼をしなくてはならないね。お礼ですか？別にそんなつもりじゃ。いちごね。
Ringo-kun beckons her over and whispers into her ear. The way Ichiko-kun's face suddenly lights up makes me wonder what she could possibly have suggested.
一つお願いがあるのですけど。
I'm so embarrassed, Suo-kun whimpers. She squirms, her pale skin flushing as I take her measurements. Their request had been for me to help them make their costumes. When I'd heard that they'd prepared the patterns but hadn't yet taken any measurements, I had us split into pairs to take care of it.
いいなあ、そうちゃん。私的にも早く測ってほしいよ。
採寸は一人ではできないのですか？
通常採寸は2人1組でないと無理だが、1人でもやりようはある。でもそれは元の服を着た上で測るから、そもそもの服がないとダメ。
そうなの。
I'm pretty sure she doesn't have anything similar on hand. Sokun seems disappointed.
僕としては学院一の美人に大義名分が立ちつつ触ることができて幸運だけどね。
What the heck?
八代先輩。
おっと、あまり身動きすると本当にまずい部分に触れてしまうよ。次はヒップだ。
お尻ですか？
採寸ではヒップは腰のことを言うのさ。すごいな。
Even at the widest point of her hips, she's still so slim. It's positively frightening.
もうよろしいですか？
みんなが見守る理由もわかるというものだ。
After class, the textiles room is packed with students preparing for Halloween. All of their gazes focused on Sokun and her enviable figure.
いや、それもあるとは思いますけど。
That's so good. Let me try to read that. Yuzuriza. Very nice. Yeah, very nice.
八代先輩に採寸されているのが羨ましいということもあると思いますですよ。とりあえずお楽しみのバスト、ウエスト、ヒップはこれでおしまいか。
もう終わりなのですね。
当然まだだよ。あとは着丈や袖丈、股下も測らないとね。
Sokun's expression shifts to that of a tragic hero, bravely resigned to go to his death. I put my hand on her back.
動かないでくれよ。着丈はこの首の突き出た骨からウエストまでを測るんだ。
I trail my hand down her slender back, chuckling at the way she trembles slightly under my touch. It would be enough to wake anyone's sadistic side. God. Ringo-kun, who's been watching me with great interest, suddenly pipes up.
八代先輩はこの被服室である噂が流れているのをご存知ですか？噂？いや、聞いたことがないな。ハロウィンに向けて針仕事が苦手な生徒は遅くまで作業しているのは知ってますよね。
Ah, there it is. The mystery is being introduced.
ああ、1年前にも消灯の時間が過ぎても作業していて注意されていたことを覚えているよ。次は袖丈だ。軽く肘を曲げてくれ。
As I instruct Sokun to loosen up her limbs, I glance at Ringo-kun to encourage her to continue.
夜遅く一人で被服室にて作業している生徒。ふと人の気配に視線を上げると自分と同じ姿を見た。いや、それは鏡に映った。
There's no mirror, right? Even as I say it, I remember that there aren't any mirrors in the room.
私的にも聞いたことがあるよ。なんだかドッペルゲンガーみたいな話だよね。おお、いちご姉もドッペルゲンガーを知っているのですね。
Keeping an eye on the increasingly excited twins beside me, I measure Sokun's other arm.
ふむ、ドッペル。聞いたことがある名だな。八代先輩も知っているですか？
I read it in a Ryunosuke Akutagawa novel. I've seen it on the side of a bike. Hey? What? What does that mean? The option is the novel, okay. I've seen it on the side. What? I don't know what that other one would have meant, but okay. I stop what I'm doing, searching through my memories.
確か以前芥川龍之介の短編で読んだな。あれは確か
2つの手紙ですね。
そうだ、さすがよく覚えているね。主人公の大学教師が何度も自分と妻の姿を目撃するという筋だった。
芥川龍之介自身も自分のドッペルゲンガーを見たと話していますよ。一度は帝劇、一度は銀座にと。
さすがに階段の舞台でそのものズバリの話をするのはいい気分がしないね。
God. To lighten the mood, I brush my hand dangerously close to Suo's no-go zone as I move to measure her inseam. Flustered, she tries to twist away, and my fingers drift even further into the danger zone. Okay. She immediately shrinks back, and I smile to reassure her that I don't really have any ulterior motives.
股下の採寸はももの付け根から足首までなんだ。すまないね。
Forcing myself to stay cool and collected, I continue measuring. Wise as she is, my teacher refrains from making any further movement, although she is still trembling slightly. I could do this in my sleep, but now, feeling that sadistic urge well up again, I narrow my eyes, acting like I'm having trouble with... What the heck? What? Why? Although she's shaking like a leaf, Suo-kun remains gallantly fixed in place. But when I sneak a peek up at her face, I see that she's flushed crimson to the very tips of her ears. She's such a nice girl. She probably thinks it would be rude to block me off or hurry me when I appear to be taking this so seriously. I'd considered this as a side perk of the job, but realizing I'm probably pushing it a bit too far, I smile wryly to myself and finish up speedily.
しかし、被服室で己と同じ姿を見るか。なんだか七不思議めいた話だね。
Seeing that she has my full attention, Ringoku sticks a finger in the air authoritatively. Authoritative. Ah, what a word.
そうです。被服室、寄宿舎で己と同じ姿を見るとのことで、噂の怪は寄宿舎のシェイプシフターではないかと言われているのですよ。寄宿舎のシェイプシフター。
But they're not in the dorms, what? User completing both main and side quests simultaneously, like a true MC! Ah, that's a good one, Chindarin. Suo-kun stares off into the distance as though this has some particular meaning for her.
七不思議の一つだ。
どんな姿にも姿を変えられる幽霊。悪魔だと諸説ある存在ですね。
なるほど。どんなものにでも化けることができる。だから自分の姿にも化けられるという発想になったという。
You know, this is something that I don't know how to feel about, because I don't know that if I saw someone who looked like myself, I would look at them and be like, oh, they look like me. I feel like I wouldn't instantly make that connection. Is it just me? I don't know. Because I feel like even though, you know, I see myself in the mirror or whatever, but I feel like I don't have a vision of how I look in the world, right? Like if I'm walking somewhere or just performing something or whatever, right? I have like an idea of what my face looks like more or less, and I check that when I put on some clothes they sit nicely on myself and so on, but I don't feel like I have a proper perception of how I would look like just wandering around in the world. So I don't know if even if there was someone who looked like me, I don't know if I would instinctively look at them and be like, oh, that's me. Does that make sense? Or is it just me? Maybe I'm weird. Anyway. I nod. The logic follows.
私たちで寄宿舎のシェイプシフターの謎を解き明かしてみない？いちごさん。
Ignoring their bubbling excitement, I think back on when I was there working at night.
同じ姿か。自分の目に私自身はどう映るのかな。
That's a good question. In my mind's eye, I see a vision of myself, void of expression. The self-derisive image causes a cynical smile to tug at the corners of my lips. Yuzu, why you do this to yourself, girl?
塩はいいものだ。しかし、塩も効き目がなくなったら、何によって塩味が取り戻されようか。
Okay, that sounds deep. I'm being preached to from the gospel according to Luke. Yet this isn't the setting for a sermon.
夜食ってのはどうしてこんなにうまいんだろうね。
It's nighttime and I'm in Yaegaki-kun's room receiving another knitting lesson.
先輩も一つどうです？
She offers me the plate. A thickly sliced potato fried in butter and topped with salt, pepper, and seaweed flakes. It's a simple dish, but just imagining the taste has me salivating. Thank you. Thank you. Pausing in my knitting, I gratefully accept and use a toothpick to spear a potato slice and pop it into my mouth. It's very similar to your standard buttered baked potato, but the liberal lashings of salt really accentuate the hot, fluffy potato taste. I tell her it really is delicious enough to make you start quoting the Bible. Oh yeah. We had no foods and finally we have some. There's always food in this novel. Sorry, babe.
私もいただこうかしら。食え食え。お前が用意してきたんだからな。
When Yaegaki-kun had complained that she wanted a snack, Takasaki-kun had left the room, not without a few snarky comments, and returned with food. It's like these two have a personal pipeline leading right to the campus chef.
いただいた手前言うのもなんだが、よく用意できたね。
Yeah, that's a good question.
食事は時間通りに席についていないと食べられないですよね。でも育ち盛りだ。どうしたって我慢できなくなる。
She smiles around the mouthful of potato she's just taken.
食堂のおば、調理師さんたちもその辺は理解してくれているから、こっそり融通をつけてくれているんですよ。
I nod. Never having been late for meals myself, I hadn't known that was possible. Seems like there's still a lot for me to learn about this school. Takasaki-kun takes another bite and I catch a faint smile on her lips too. Food does have that divine power.
お腹が空くのはサラダばかり食べているからだって叱られたわ。千鳥は痩せすぎなんだよ。肉を食え肉を。サラダなんて年取ってからでいいんだよ。前もそう言っていたわね。
Did I? She tilts her head and Takasaki-kun primly assures her that yes, she did. I can't help but smile myself at their sweet relationship.
羨ましいやりとりだ。この部屋に来ると独り身の寂しさで身が凍えそうになる。はあ？何を言ってるんですか？嫌味しか言われてないと思うのだけど。あのな、言われてないって被害者ぶるのはよせ。お前が私へ攻撃してくることの方が多いだろうが。今のを聞きましたか？性格が悪いのは仕方ないと諦めていましたが、頭も悪いんですよ。上手に付き合っていく方法を聞きたいくらいです。
They really embody the bickering couple perfectly. Well, it might seem like they're quarreling. I know that this is just how they communicate. I continue with my knitting as I respond.
ある作品の中で、年上の女房は年下のように、年下の女房は年上のように接するように。
Interesting.
同い年はどうすればいいんです？それはお互いの努力しかないんじゃないかな。
I smile dryly as the two of them exchange bashful glances.
またぞろ出しにされた気分だが、編み物の師として僕のマフラーの進捗はどうかな？
I show her my scarf, which is a result of my considerable efforts over the past few days. Sorry, I was about to say months. No, over the past few days has now grown to the size of a hand towel. Yaegaki-kun takes my knitting needles and examines the stitching on both the front and the back before handing it back to me.
さすがに覚えがいい。問題ないですね。このまま行けば間に合うでしょう。
They really have that two old hags energy. I guess they do.
よかった。努力自体も美徳だが、努力するなら報われたいからね。
Cute.
2階屋の会の運営もこなしながらマフラー制作、ハロウィンの衣装作りまでやっているんだ。大したものです。
本当にエリカも八代先輩の爪の赤を煎じて飲んで。
あ
Sorry, I
な
skipped
ん
too fast.
だ、またイチャモンか。
そうじゃなくて、ハロウィンパーティーでの衣装作りをそろそろ取り掛からないと間に合わないわよ。
後でやるさ。手先の器用さ、千鳥も知ってるだろ。
後でとお化けには会ったことが。
Having had her own barb turned around on her, she pulls a face like she's just bitten into a lemon.
お化けといえば、最近噂になっている七不思議、知っていますか？
You can diss her more, she likes. Okay, yeah, the mystery rumor again.
寄宿舎のシェイプシフターだろ？リンゴくんから聞いたよ。なんだ、情報元は同じですか？
寄宿舎のシェイプシフター？シェイプシフターって何？
お、階段好きでも知らないか。まあ、シェイプシフター自体マニアックな回だからな。僕もこの学院に来るまで耳にしたことがなかったよ。どちらかというとゲームで取り扱われることが多いそうだね。私は映画で知った口ですが、シェイプシフターってのはなんだ、ミミックみたいなやつさ。
それって宝箱に化けたモンスターじゃないの？
ミミックってのは擬態を意味している言葉なんだよ。別に宝箱に限った話じゃないんだ。
Takasaki-kun nods along. Tapping a finger against her jaw, Yaegaki-kun murmurs that the Academy's shapeshifter really seems more like a mimic. Yeah.
どうして？
Instant thoughts of Frieren being caught in a mimic and chomped on. Okay.
そりゃ、情報元が同じなら、八代先輩もご存知なのでしょ？一つ、こいつに教えてやってくださいよ。
Explain honestly. Because it bites like a mimic. What? What does this option even mean? I guess, yeah, this is the one. Yaegaki-kun is grinning and I decide to hew to the mischievousness I hear in her tone.
ミミックに似ているとのことだが、それは寄宿舎のシェイプシフターは噛みつくからさ。
I guess mimic is something uniquely Japanese, I suppose. I don't know. She's in his face. I lean in and feign biting her sexy beauty-marked neck. Her eyes widen and she blinks at me, but
それは確かに恐ろしいですね。
she doesn't seem at all embarrassed though. Instead, her eyes narrow in serious thought.
ああ、そうだろう。
噂になっているというのだったら噛みつかれた被害者がいるのですよね。だったら探した方がいいのではないですか？
She's too innocent. Caving under the earnest intensity of her almond eyes, I retreat.
負けたよ。天然物が一番強い。
Mimic is original in Dungeons and Dragons things. Okay, okay. I'm not very familiar, so I don't know. Smiling like a cat, Yaegaki-kun explains to her confused Amitia partner the real reason is like a mimic.
自分と同じ姿ですか？
It's from D&D. Okay, okay. Playing with her hair, she nods in interest. She did say she liked tales of the supernatural.
まあ、深夜に規則を破って作業する罪悪感が見せたものだと思うよ。階段が旬の夏も過ぎた。噂も時期に立ち消えするだろう。
Yaegaki-kun looks a little apologetic as she opens her mouth.
どうも、そういう流れにはならないようですよ。
Yeah, that's what I saw in Frieren as well. That's why my mind goes there because it's the most recent instance of it. I guess that's what Chidori also thought of. She says,
どうしてだい？娯楽が少ないこの学院とはいえ、そう長続きする話題でもないと思うのだけどね。
実はここ最近のことですがね、シェイプシフターを見たって生徒が、
別におかしくは。
もう一人の自分に驚いたその生徒は慌てた拍子に転んで怪我をしてしまったそうなんで。
So the story had probably been a bit of a laugh at first, but now that there's an injured party, it's taken on some real weight.
怪我ひどいの？
A big chest with teeth. Yeah, that's the image I had in my mind when they referenced the chests as well.
いや、軽い捻挫だよ。大した怪我じゃない。でも幽霊を見て怪我したって言うんで、だいぶショックを受けたらしいけどね。
ふむ。情報元は生徒からでなく養護教諭かね。
Yaigaki-kun tells me that I'm on the money. Then, noticing her Amitia partner's questioning look, she offers an explanation as to how I guessed her source of information.
純粋な事故や不審者なら二階屋の会の会長八代先輩の耳に入らないわけがないだろ。だから情報元が絞れたんだよ。ああ、そういうこと。まあ幽霊を見て自爆したって話をみんなへ話して回るのも。
Yaigaki-kun goes on to tell us that after hearing this from the school nurse, she went on to wheedle the details out of the victim herself and her friends.
と、まあそんなわけで、まだまだ消え去る話題ってなわけじゃないようですよ。
Yeah, I guess we're gonna have to have Detective Yuzuriha on the case.
怪我人が出るような話になっているなら、どうにかしないといけない。
My murmur melts into the silence without a response. Alright. I think this is right on the money. We're at the 2.5-hour mark. I don't particularly want to go any deeper into this. I think it's perfect. It's introduced the mystery just a little bit, so we kind of know what we are going to be dealing with. But I guess we will jump into the details of it when we pick it up next time. Yep, I think this is perfect. So we're not leaving in some sort of cliffhanger or anything, and that, to me, this feels satisfying for tonight. Yeah, thank you so much for being here. This has been great, and sorry about the issue with the internet. It was a panic moment for me as well, because I was reading and I was chilling, and then suddenly OBS was like, OBS is disconnected. Say what? Okay. Yeah, let me exit this. And here we are. Yeah, I guess hiccups like that can happen, you know, technology. Because of this, I will have to cut the two parts of the VOD a little bit and stitch them together. So there, I'll upload that tomorrow morning or something. For tonight, I'm just gonna go straight to bed because I'm kind of tired. So I will not be dealing with it right now. Yeah. So sorry about that. There will be a slight delay than usual. Yeah. And as I mentioned, next time I'm gonna take a little break, from streams in the next 2 weeks. I will be back on the 17th of September, and I was just thinking that, I don't know, somehow the timing, it feels really nice because we just finished summer and summer is just ending, right? And we will be continuing the fall chapter in the fall. So that's nice. Curse the internet. Actually, no, don't curse it. You needed to stream. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. I'm actually quite grateful for the internet that we have, because in the building when we moved, there was only one provider available at the time, and most people were complaining about it. So I was kind of like, you know, scared that it was gonna be really bad, especially because I work from home, so I need it available. But really, it's been fine. We haven't been affected by the issues that everyone else was complaining about. So I'm tempted to think it's more about faulty infrastructure and not the provider itself. So maybe they have some issues with the wires or whatever, because we've been fine. So I'm grateful. It's fine. Hiccups can happen sometimes, but it's not a big of a deal. It's not like a pattern or anything, so it's fine. You've pulled Firefly, so you have a right to take a super break if you Oh, that's so good. Thank you, Bea. Yeah, I will do my best to use this time productively to finish my cosplay, and I hope it will turn out okay. It's always a question mark if when I put everything together it turns out as what I envisioned or not, but we will see, we will see. And yeah, I'm hanging around the Discord, so that will be fine. So I'm not completely disconnected from all of you. Obviously, I think the Star Rail update drops right in the week that I'm traveling, so yeah, I'll stream that, like, I guess with 1 week delay. And yeah, it will be the same week when I'm back, with the 17th. Yeah, more or less that would be the plan. Until then, thank you so much again for being around. You're awesome people, and I love sharing the story with you. And this is a bit of a change from the summer episode, but I think it's still quite intriguing and interesting, so I'm looking forward to continuing it. In the meantime, take care of yourselves. We chat around the Discords, and I will see you again on the 17th. Yeah, take care.